I want you to imagine for just a moment with me, imagine a lifestyle where you pull out your tablet, you pull out your smartphone, you pull up a financial statement on that device, and because it says certain numbers, you go and you buy a stock. And when you buy that stock, you make lots and lots of money because you bought something based upon a financial statement. Well, guess what? That life just doesn't exist. I want to go ahead and debunk one of the biggest myths I see out there in the stock market all the time, whether it be from stock market beginners or just people who are in the stock market in general that think if you just look at the financial statement of a company, like that is good enough. That is a good enough decision, okay? I'm going to go ahead and debunk this myth. Now, this myth was on a video I saw yesterday, a comment left by somebody. It says, as an investor, I'm all about the number and not the narrative. Numbers matter. They can save the narrative to the fanboys. I want the numbers. Warren Buffett does not care about this because he can call up the CFO and ask the numbers. But you can't do that, Jeremy, and I can't do that. That is why we need transparency. You should think before you make a video. You show a lack of understanding of finance. Talking about a narrative. Numbers, Jeremy, that's what finance is about. Numbers is for marketing and YouTube stars. Get real. Oh my goodness gracious, this person knows it all, okay? So this is very, very interesting, all right? Let's go ahead and debunk this. Let's just get straight into this, guys. So there are three types of investors you have in the stock market. There are really only three types of investors out there. Now, there are a lot of different traders. There's a big difference between a trader and an investor. A trader's just trying to do short-term things, maybe trade a stock within seconds or minutes or maybe a couple months, a swing trader or something like that. But as far as actual investors, people that are buying companies, planning on holding them for at least a few years or maybe for life or something like that, you have three types of those people out there, okay? You have the first ones, which is this group, okay? The financials only. They look at the financials. They look at the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow, and they look at the P ratio and some other, asset test ratio and things like that. They calculate some things, and they invest based upon what those financials tell them. That's how they invest, okay? That's the first group of investors. The second group of investors is all about the narrative. Narrative, another word for narrative is the story, okay? Whatever story that company tells out there, they just buy it based upon that. That's how you can see stocks trading at ridiculous PEs, or maybe they lose money, but yet they still have this ridiculous valuation on it. It's because that company tells a really good story, and it makes investors buy into it, and they believe in that company, and that it's going to change the world, and this and that. They tell a really good story. They have a really good narrative around that, and people buy stocks based upon that. That's why you can see stocks that lose money all the time, but yet still have a massive amount of investors in it. And you're like, how does that happen? Because that company is really good at selling the investors that this company is going to be great in the future. And if you buy in now, you're getting these shares for a great deal, okay? And the third one, which I would consider myself as, and I think this is the best one, it's someone that views the narrative and looks at the financials. Because here's the thing, if you're just looking at the financials, you can get stuck in a stock that goes nowhere for a long time, or you lose a lot of money on, okay? A perfect example, the golden child of looking at financials only is a company named Micron, okay? Ticker symbol MU. I have a very close friend who's invested unbelievably heavy in MU. He's got most of his wealth in this stock. He's down substantially on the position, unfortunately, but he bought this stock just because he looked at the financials, okay? And he tried to get me to buy the stock at $55, $60 a share, and I was like, dude, I'm not doing it, okay? Right now, I think it's like $40 a share. I hope it goes to 100. I hope it goes to 200. I hope he makes so much money on it. It's ridiculous, okay? But when I looked at this company, I could not buy this stock, okay? It was at like a 4 forward P when I looked into it. I think right now it's now at a 3 forward P, which is unbelievably cheap, okay? The market on average trades at a forward P somewhere, I think around 16 on a forward P basis. This company trades at a 3, okay? One of the cheapest stock in the S&P 500 by a mile. They make more profit in a quarter right now than Amazon does, okay? Amazon trades at nearly $1 trillion market cap, and yet this company that trades at a $50 billion market cap makes more profit in one quarter than Amazon does, okay? So if you're looking at just the financials of this company, it's like, this is like a screaming buy. Like, why would you not buy this? And if you're looking at financials only, you would have already bought these shares, okay? But what you got to dig down deep is you got to start looking at the narrative of this company. When I looked at this company, I was like, this is a company that has a horrible narrative and I don't really see this changing. So the narrative around that company from a lot of investors, the way they look at it is they look at this company, MU, and they say it's just a commodity memory company. It's just a commodity memory company that, just makes commodity chips. Anybody can do this. And, that's the view out there. Whether that's true or not, which it probably isn't true, that is the narrative. And as soon as pricing goes down, the stock is done. That is a whole narrative around this company from bearish investors and from a lot of people when they look into it, okay? So the financials of this company is amazing, but yet the narrative is horrible. So as this company continues to report these unbelievable numbers, the stock has continued to fall from $63 it was back in the summertime, early summertime, to now it's like, $39, $40 a share or something like that. The narrative on that company has to change. My friend, he's all about they're going to, buy some shares back. I'm like, MU does not need to buy back shares right now. MU, what they need to do is go out and acquire another company that can change the narrative of the company. Something like a Skyworks Solutions would make great sense in my opinion. Another semiconductor company. So when investors look into MU, it's not just, they're a commodity memory producer and anybody can do that and they're totally, their business is relying on where pricing goes to, they have their memory business over there. That's their cash cow, but they also have this growth vector over here. They also have 5G. They also have all this other stuff. Until the company can change a narrative, it's going to be always stuck at a very, very low valuation. That's just the way it is, guys. So as a CEO, it is all about sales, okay? It's for a CEO's job is so much about sales. Do they actually go out there on the front lines, a CEO of a big company, and actually try to sell products and services? No. They're selling two huge things all the time. They're selling other executives to come work with our team, okay? That's one of the jobs of a CEO that you don't see much. CEOs are trying to recruit some of the best executives to kind of surround themselves and build out a great team around them so they can hopefully prosper in the future. But CEOs, another huge responsibility, as I talked about in the video yesterday, another huge responsibility is that stock price goes up over time. It's not just by getting profits up, it's by getting more and more investors to believe in your company, okay? If we went down and we went to Times Square right now, I think I paid $20 for this golden guy right here, okay? I think I paid $20 at a store for this golden guy right here, right? If we went to Times Square right now, you put somebody that's horrible at sales, you put somebody that's decent at sales, and you put somebody that is great at sales, I can guarantee you the guy that is great at sales will have this sold for $100+ to somebody within an hour, okay? The person that is bad at sales will never even get this sold in a day. We could probably give them a week and they'll probably never get it sold. And if they do get it sold, they'll sell it for $1 or $2, okay? Somebody that's great at sales can sell anybody on the dream, okay? And the fact is, if you have a CEO, if you have an executive team, if you have a business model that has that only focuses on the financials and not the story and explaining that story well, you have a company that is set up to never become anything, okay? And what ends up happening is eventually over time, the stock price doesn't, perform well. Then the board of directors votes out that CEO, starts voting out that executive team, or basically just fires them. They don't even have to vote the board of directors. They just start firing them, bringing in some new people, and sometimes those new people can end up screwing up the financials. So all of a sudden now you don't have a narrative or financials, okay? So this is a story. You don't want to make a mistake as an investor of just buying based upon the financials. Now, Warren Buffett, okay? Warren Buffett, let's talk about him. He was mentioned in that comment, right? Warren Buffett, the great thing about Warren Buffett, right, is not only that he has a lot of money and all this stuff and he can build big stakes in companies, but is that Warren Buffett can literally change the narrative of a company. Warren Buffett single-handedly changed the narrative of Apple stock, okay? Prior to Warren Buffett investing in Apple stock was floundering around $90, $100 a share. This was literally about 2.5 years ago, okay? It was a $90, $100 stock, okay? And the narrative around Apple was so focused on just iPhone unit numbers, they can't grow that anymore. All of a sudden, Warren Buffett starts buying shares very heavy in Apple, okay? And all of a sudden, it comes out that Warren Buffett has been buying Apple shares. And now all of a sudden, you have Warren Buffett go out there and literally go on CNBC and Bloomberg and change the entire narrative of Apple from it being a story of it's just iPhone units to now a lot of it, and now the shares are $200+, okay? Even after today's drop, it's literally doubled from from where Buffett bought it like 2.5 years ago, okay? You can look at the stock chart. Literally doubled since he started buying in. And he has changed the narrative from just being about iPhone units to getting a lot more investors interested in Apple by saying, hey, they have an ecosystem around their products. Hey, they have all this other business they're doing. Hey, they have their services category. He has single-handedly helped change the narrative of a company. So Warren Buffett, yeah, he can buy a lot on financials, but even the great Warren Buffett also buys on narrative, okay? One of Warren Buffett's things he always says, he'll never buy business, regardless of financials, if he doesn't understand the business model well and he can't see the future well for that company, okay? It's why he wouldn't have bought in Apple many, many years ago, because he just couldn't see the future for it. Now he could, starting a few years ago, and he starts buying in, okay? So even the great Warren Buffett buys on narrative. But the great thing for Buffett, because he has so much credibility, because he has so much fame in the investment community, he can literally change the entire narrative of a stock, because he has that much power. When he buys shares, the world watches, the investment world watches, and they say, did you just hear Warren Buffett just bought a whole bunch of shares of this? Everybody out there is talking about it, okay? So that's a beautiful thing with Buffett, but he even looks at the narrative, and don't let him fool you for a second, okay? He preaches about looking at the business overall and not just the financial statements, okay? So one of the biggest mistakes you can make as an investor in the stock market, a beginner investor, an advanced investor, someone that's just been in it for a year or two, is that you only look at the financials only. It's a very naive view, and I wish it was that way. I wish it was so simple where you just look at the financial statements, you just look at the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow. I wish it was that simple. I wish it was that simple, guys, but it is not. It is not a game that is that simple. If it was, then if it was just about the numbers, the computer systems could do a million times better, valuing of companies than we as humans could do. If it was just about the numbers, but at the end of the day, it's more than just the numbers. It's the numbers plus the narrative, and that's how you get a stock price to go up and up over time. To get a stock price to go up and up over time, you need a lot more buying pressure than you have selling pressure, and you'll get that stock to go up. And by telling the story, this is why CEOs of companies and executives always do these investor conferences. Why does a CEO or CFO or important executive go around the country doing investor presentations? Why do they do that? Couldn't their time be much more well spent back at the offices helping out their teams expand the business? No, because here's the thing. Those executives understand that if they can get a big investor to buy in at one of those investor conferences, they just made a huge, great decision for the company in terms of the stock prices, which is one of the things they are, judged on as a public company. Like I said, profits and stock price. You don't have one of those, you're probably going to be out as CEO eventually over time. Okay, so executives of teams, they go to all these investor presentations and do these type of things, right? Because they want to explain the company better. They want to sell the company to investors. Okay, and that's just the name of the game, guys. So don't make the big mistake of just investing on financials. Hope you enjoy this. Hope you guys got a lot of value out of this today. Hit a thumbs up if you did. Thank you for watching and have a great day.